Okay, we're ready.
Yeah, here you go.
Greetings everybody. Again, we're in Tony's barbershop and we're here to share some information. And today we have Steve Wish, who's from the Polar Bear organization, organization called the Polar Bear, who is the founder of. And today Steve will be talking about his experience, his involvement in the community, about Polar Bear. But first thing, Steve, wish you to the Tony's barbershop, you know?
Very nice place, like it.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Steve, just a little background about yourself. I know you've been involved in teaching and so forth, and how you got involved in teaching?
How did I get involved in teaching?
Yeah.
I went to teacher training college back in the 70s. I left teacher training college and said, the last thing I ever want to do is teach.
Right.
Okay. So I went back home and my dad said, we've just helped you through college. If you don't teach, that's fine, it's your choice, but leave.
Okay.
So, you know, it's like, I thought, oh, all right, I don't really want to leave at this stage. I was kind of young still. So I looked for the nearest school to me, one I could walk to, because I don't like travelling too much. And this was back in the early 70s, and there were so short teachers. It was just great.
Right.
There were so many opportunities, and I just walked in the first school, got the job next day.
Okay.
This is like just before the term was going to start as well.
What would you say about teaching? What's the good and the bad of it, the pros and cons of teaching?
Don't get me on that one. That's too long a subject. I mean, I started teaching in the 70s, then I dropped out for 10 years, and I'll explain why. Came back into teaching after when I came back to teaching, national curriculum was in the process of starting up, and I think that was so destructive to teaching, so destructive to how children learn. And the whole process went from being involvement in education to being information overload. And national curriculum is about information overload. It's putting all the focus and the value on the information you hold, not the knowledge and the wisdom you hold.
Right.
You know, and I think to me that's very sad. And I mean, while that's continuing on, I'm glad not to be in teaching, honestly.
Okay. And why did you drop out of teaching? Just give a little background of why.
I started off in geography teacher, then I did 3 years as drama teacher.
Okay.
That was really interesting. I set up my own department this was in Neasden, in a boys' school. And I moved back, then I dropped out of teaching for 10 years, as I said, and then I moved back into teaching and became a geography teacher again. And again, that was also down to the fact that drama had become sidelined here, which is, to me, drama, which is about real communication, had become a sidelined subject. And I realised I wouldn't get a professional development in drama, but in geography I would, so I went back into geography. I did also do drama. In fact, I ran a drama club for a while in Northumberland Park School. For a while, in my first or second year back in teaching.
Okay.
So I just loved it.
Okay. And I want you to little bit about Polar Bear. What is Polar Bear?
Okay, well, in 1995-96, I began to fall apart in my life and also in the school where I was at in Haringey. Things just were getting weird. I mean, and I didn't know what it was. I finished my teaching in 97, and by 98, I was actually diagnosed as having bipolar manic depression.
Was that because of overworking in the system?
No. It's never one thing.
Okay.
It's never one thing. It didn't help having been in a school which was designated as a failing school. It was a very difficult school. I mean, a school where we had murder in the school, death in the school, riot in the school. It was a tough school, it was not easy. That's in Haringey. But when other things are going okay, teachers can cope with that. It's when other things start breaking down as well. And the result of that was I actually lost my family. I've been married 22 years, that relationship broke up. I lost my home, lost my job, and ended up within a year in hell, which was quite an amazing place to go to, especially if you don't expect it. It's hot.
So it's an experience,
Oh, an experience, yeah.
And
it's many experiences put together and all coming on top of you at once, and you don't realise it.
And that's where Polar Bear was able to...
It's where Polar Bear, it was the foundation of Polar Bear. It was where the reality of life really came home to me and what came home to me was the fact that as a teacher, I was head of department. I considered I had a good voice. I saw myself as articulate and able to get messages across. I mean, in many years as a teacher, and to suddenly realising that when you have mental illness, you have no voice.
No voice.
No voice at all.
Well, let's focus on polar bear. What's the word polar bear mean? Why that name come about?
Well,
polar bear.
basically, I'm bipolar. Bipolar means mood swings. You know,
Okay.
you go from depression to highs.
Okay.
I live a lot of my life in a fairly manic state, which
Okay.
is, I'm feeling reasonably high at the moment, which is great. I feel pretty good. And but I also have the lows with it. When I was trying to think of a way of expressing that, I didn't want to form an organisation called the Bipolar Organisation. So I thought Polar Bear sounds good. Okay, and then from that I've developed the idea of the metaphor of the polar bear as being, if you think of a polar bear in the city, you're thinking of something which shouldn't be there. It's out of place.
Okay.
And if you think about the polar bear as it is now with the ice melting, the polar bear itself is finding its own environment changing. You go from being a teacher to being mentally ill. Your environment changes so much that you don't. It's like the street is melting underneath you. It's like you're walking on ice and you're sliding. And one of the problems is that you slide quite slowly. And so you don't always realise you're sliding, but you are sliding. And the problem with mental health is, unfortunately, you crash before anything usually gets done about it. Okay. So the idea of the polar bear community was taking that metaphor of the polar bear on the ice slipping, and saying, if we could do something to support the polar bear before it ends up drowning in the water, maybe we could make a difference.
Okay.
And at the time when this happened to me, there really wasn't anything for people just to go and talk about their issues, to talk about what was going wrong for them in their life, to talk about the confusion. It's very hard to talk about confusion.
Right.
We all want to be certain, we all want to know what we're on about, but actually, boy, you can get really confused.
Okay. I want to spin it around, because
Okay.
I want to touch a little bit about polar bear and what it aim and objective is, but I want to ask your views on mental health, because the reason I'm asking is because I saw a documentary, and I think I shared it with you the other day, and it's a business.
Yeah.
Definitely a
From the
business.
pharmaceutical business.
Yeah, definitely
That's
a
right.
business, right?
Yeah.
And I just want to ask your views on the article.
Yeah, well, I mean, as I say, I formed the organisation Polar Bear Community because there was nothing out there for people before they got in the system. So in other words, you got ill, you got in the system, then the system took over. And you're hospitalised, or you're treated, you're on drugs, whatever it is, and it's what happened to me, obviously. And I just felt that the whole system depends on people getting sick.
Right.
They want you to be ill. They want you to be mentally ill, because then they can make money out of you.
Okay.
I mean, they don't necessarily make money out of your own pocket, but,
Yeah.
but they still make money out of the system.
Yeah.
I mean, to be fair to psychiatrists and stuff, it's no different than any system. The GPs have done it in their past. They always, they medicate you for no particular reason, often because pharmaceuticals are making money out of it. It's no different to any system where there's money to be made. That's the problem. People, if you get an opportunity, people want to make money out of it.
Yeah.
So if I want to be a good capitalist, I'd have to say, actually, good luck to them. But I'm not a capitalist, so I don't say good luck to them. To me, it's much more important about what's happening to the person themselves.
Okay. I mean,